Hey guys, welcome to World Geography class. This is Mr. Sheffield again, and today we're going over the United States of America Human Geography Part 2. If you were in Mr. Duty's class yesterday, you had a 15-minute rundown of almost 400 years of American history, all run down within 15 minutes. And so we did a little bit of history yesterday, and today we're going to move into some more topics that are happening right now. What are the population like, and what's the human geography like now in the United States? So we start off with population patterns. At the time of this PowerPoint, there was a little more than 315 million people living in the United States. And when you look at the population pyramid for the United States, there's a large group of that is actually towards the top of it. And so we have an aging population. We'll get more into that in about a week and a half. We'll get into the population pyramids and why those are important. But that aging of the population is going to cause a lot of challenges in government and healthcare costs. And that's a lot of what you guys will talk about in a couple of years in government and economics. And we'll go through the problems that happen when you have an aging population like you do in the United States in about a week and a half. Where are people living in the United States? Well, the populations are increasing in the Sun Belt states. And so, remember, we talked about regions. One of the regions that we talked about was the Sun Belt. If you look down at this map here, those are the states that are in yellow. Those are the more temperate, more tropical climates. Those are the climates that have a proper summer, fall, not as long of a winter, and then they have a good spring. More people are moving down into those Sunbelt states because the weather's a little bit better and because manufacturing has really declined in the North and Great Lake regions. It's something that started happening when the automobile companies started leaving Michigan, and a lot of manufacturing has left those areas. And so people are just going to go where the work is. People are going to go where they can make the best living. So more people are heading into the Sunbelt states, so those yellow states there. Most of the people in the United States live in a metropolitan area. And we have about 366 metropolis in the United States. Now, a metropolitan area is a city with a population of at least 50,000 people, and that includes outlying communities called suburbs. So, like here we have Houston, and then we have outlying little communities in Houston that are not just buildings stacked on top of each other. There's more houses with a little bit of land. We call those suburbs. All right. We break down of some of the diversity in the United States, and here we have based on the census in 2000. And so you can see the makeup of the United States when it comes to Hispanic Americans, Native Americans, African Americans, and Asian Americans. When you look at all these different maps, you can see just how diverse these areas are and kind of what the makeup of the area is. You can see in the Southwest and the West, parts of Florida, New York, you have a lot of Hispanic Americans, Native Americans more on the west, in between that Pacific Range and Rocky Mountains area, African Americans towards the south, Asian Americans kind of spread all throughout, little pockets here and there, but in California. These are all based on the census that was done in 2000. And so America's got a long history of immigration, and it's the population here is probably one of the most diverse countries in the world. And basically, if you were not one of the indigenous people, the Native Americans, your family immigrated to the United States. And so we have huge immigration movements from people from Ireland, Scotland, Italy, Poland, China, Mexico, a lot from Central and South America. Other people have immigrated to the United States. In the 1800s, we talked yesterday about they helped build railroads, work in factories. In 2012, the census reported that 13% of the United States population was foreign born, meaning they were born outside of the United States, right? And that more than half of the foreign born population came from Latin America, so Central and South America. Um, we have such a diverse population, and then we have a core value in this country of religious freedom. It contributes to a wide range of religious practices in the United States today. And so you have a diverse group of people coming together. It's known as the melting pot in the United States. And so the global reach of American culture, which you guys don't know or may not think about, is that American culture has spread all throughout the world, from our movies, music, art, fashion. Elements of American culture have been adopted and taken in by other cultures around the world. And our culture's been able to spread mostly through the use of technology. So now you guys understand social media today and using the internet, and you can see how that has spread culture in a big way. But even 70, 80 years ago, the radio had a big impact on the rest of the world. Radio and TV also helped spread that American culture. And then through that media, through those popular medias, all of these different things, fashion, customs, art, music, were made available to the rest of the world. Now, when you think about it, some people love the idea of what it is to be American and American pop culture. In some places, there's actually a backlash to what they call Americanization. You can see where if you've been living a certain way for many years and all of a sudden people start coming and thinking that another way of living is good, you can see how there could potentially be a backlash. And so that's definitely happened throughout the world at some point, a backlash towards that Americanization. Because some people do feel like that pop culture, movies, art, fashion, that American culture could potentially take over and be a threat to the local customs and the way of life. And so it's just kind of something to think about. You don't always think about American culture as being something that could potentially be harmful. Um, but there's kind of the pros and cons to it. Next 6 weeks, we're going to be getting into culture in South America, and that's one of the things that we'll talk about is just how far-reaching American culture and the rest of the world's culture has been in South America, and how South American and Central American culture has spread throughout the world as well. It's really interesting stuff, and hopefully you guys are looking into that. Economic activity. We're going to be getting into economies at the end of next semester. But what you need to know about the United States is that the U.S. economy is a free market. That means that you are allowed to own a business and profit from that business, right? The government is not telling you you can or can't start a business. You can start and you're allowed to profit from owning your own business. Nobody's telling you how much to buy, nobody's telling you how much to sell. It is a free market economy. Now, in the United States, manufacturing, we talked yesterday that during World War I, World War II, manufacturing helped raise the standard of living in the United States. Well, now manufacturing jobs are on the decline, although time, efficiency, and productivity have increased for most U.S. factories. They need less people to be more successful and more productive. Um, Now, what's happened economically in the last 20 years? In 2008, the United States, we had a serious economic downturn, and that was caused by excessive number of ill-advised home mortgage loans. So people were basically purchasing houses, and people were selling houses to people and giving them mortgages that they could not afford. And so those bad loans led to failures of large banks and required government and large government investments to save them. And it was really one of the first times where the US economy and financial system was really tested. And because there were those issues in 2008, it actually affected many other countries because they relied so heavily on our financial system. And so, as we talk throughout North America, we talk a little bit more about finances. And the next semester, when we get into economics, you'll realize that how connected the entire world is. And when something bad happens in one place, it has the potential now to cause harm in others. And so it's just one of these things to remember that it's not the United States is not just an isolated area anymore. We are part of a global unit, and many other countries rely on us, and we also rely on many other countries. So, that is Human Geography Part 2 for the United States. What you guys are going to do today is complete the questions and the writing prompt that are on the hub. If you go to the hub, click on the folder that says October 29th, and you will see that there is a link here to this video. So if you want to watch it again, you can do so. I don't know why you would want to. We also have the PowerPoint there for you to go through. You'll have a set of questions to answer, and then you'll also have a writing prompt to do. Doing those are completing the questions in the writing prompt. You will not only get a grade for those, right? So you want to make sure that you do them, but that will also be how attendance is taken. So make sure you complete those assignments. If you have any questions, we are testing today, but later on today, around 2 o'clock, we'll be at our computers and we'll be able to answer any questions that you guys send us through Microsoft Teams. So either send them to your teacher, or if you're in Mr. Duty's class, find Donald Duty or Jeremy Sheffield on Microsoft Teams and send us a message. Thank you guys so much, and good luck on the assignment.